first part was to get the both plates exact the same and your outline perfect. And after that we did mark the purfling line with the little purfling marker. And it was 2 blades, and I normally run it with double blades first run and then single blade after that to just get cleaner cut. The purfling in there, you can get machines to do that, little gizmos and all that, and we did get a couple different ones for the shop to test it out, and I'm so far not comfortable enough. Let's just say that. Buddy of mine used it and close, but then something happens. It is a lot of repair work. Let's just say that. So I still, even though doing purfling by hand and cutting the channel by hand, it's a lot of trouble and time-consuming work, I still prefer to do it by hand, even though the machine would be easier, maybe in the future. So for a little bit more about the purfling, after I did dig the channel up and got everything nice and clean there, what I did is bent the purfling itself. So in this build, what we did use was German-made pearlwood purfling, and all of the black and it's not white, umber color is pearlwood, and then the black parts are just dyed pearlwood. I do like the flexibility, and it just keeps its shape way better. It doesn't fall apart in the glue joints, and I like the skinny look myself. The big part to get everything nice and neat is the end right here. You got your bee sting, and right where the tip comes. That's also one of the most loved jobs, to get it all nice and neat and not breaking anything in here. If that happens, well, it's unfortunate, but it can be always fixed with little repairs, so it's not too big a deal, but I think the self-pride is the key. But there's different configurations. You can use maple, pearlwood, ebony, any type of mix. But the ebony was used more way in the back in the day, and they used to glue them in 3 separate pieces at the same time. So you would have 3 pieces flopping all around, and you can imagine doing 3 separate pieces at the same time. You try to hammer and glue the bits in there. Get the little facets, almost like when the wood kind of shifts, and when you cut into it, the grain always doesn't follow your scribed line. So it's harder to hand put on there, and you can see just minor little sort of kinks, so to speak, in the line itself. But when it's machined up, it doesn't matter what way the grain goes, it always just cuts it. So for back, you did see a one-piece quilted maple back. It just have a little bit of, well, probably not quilted per se. It just one-piece back with a little bit of black markings on the edges and throughout, and that's just nature way to it is that's interesting. It can be disease based, or the environment, if there was something in the water or pollution. So it's naturally occurring in there, and normally we try to avoid it, but this case I did like a nice piece, so I didn't let it to spoil the whole piece of wood for me. Everything else was nice about it, so I liked the lightness and density and all that. So for that reason I did select the back. So the ribs would be different tree. The back would have been different tree, and the neck is also different tree. So maple for neck, sides and the back, and then spruce for the top. The other one is the top is designed to take the pressure way down, so you want more of curvature and strength right where the bridge sits. So this way there's going to be less deformation and accidents happening in the future. So that's the reason being. I do my back plates sometimes a little bit more fuller than the top. On this build I went opposite. So what I had the last violin, I had more flatter top and more full back, and this time I went other way around, so little flatter back to get the volume out, and then for the top I went a little higher arching to get a little deeper sound. So there's a lot of other makers doing similar style, so I'm just going to give it a go and see what happens, but I'm confident enough, knock on wood, it will sound pretty good. measuring a lot of the position of the F-holes and coloring them with the pencil way before it was due. The reason being is when you have the arching right in this area, if there is if it's too high or too low and you kind of just draw them in, you will see how they're going to look when you look them from side view. And that's one of the reasons to get the arching correct on this area. You would be either first drawing the F-holes where you kind of want them to be, and if they look good on that area. At the same time, when I draw them, I will see the definition of the arching way better, because it's drawn there just to finish up the arching process. And then it's good to see where your F-holes are located when you start hollowing it. So I redraw a F-holes few times. Firstly, getting the arching. The second time I redraw it again is to make the fluting onto the wings. Hopefully this one sparked interest of young makers and people who want to learn making. That's my take on this.